Picture this. Your washing machine is running, just like it does every day. But this time, it starts making a noise. A low rumble at first, then a loud grinding, like a jet engine taking off in your kitchen. The whole machine shakes and dances across the floor. So you call a repair person. They come out, listen for a moment, and nod. It's the bearings, they say. Then they give you the price. And you nearly fall over. The repair costs almost as much as a brand new washing machine. So you ask the obvious question. How much is the actual broken part? And here is the twist that should make you angry. The bearing itself, the little part that failed, costs almost nothing. A couple of dollars. Maybe even less. So how can a $2 part lead to a bill big enough to buy a whole new machine? How can something so cheap cause so much damage? The answer is not bad luck. It is not just normal wear and tear. It is the way the machine was designed. On purpose. And once you understand it, you will never look at a new washing machine the same way again. Because your washer, like so many things in your home, was built to fail. Let's start with how washing machines used to be built. For a long time, a washing machine was made to be fixed. The big metal tub inside was built in two halves. It could be opened up. Think of it like a jar with a lid. If a part inside wore out, a repair person could open the tub, take out the worn part, put in a fresh one, and close it back up. The most common part to wear out is the bearing. A bearing is a simple thing. It is a ring of little metal balls that lets the drum spin smoothly, thousands and thousands of times. After many years, bearings were down. That is normal. Every spinning machine has them, from cars to bikes to fans. But here is the key. In the old machines, when the bearing wore out, you just replaced the bearing. It was a cheap part and a simple repair. The machine then went on to live many more years. These washers often lasted 20, 25, even 30 years. You fixed the small things, and the big machine kept right on going. That was the honest way to build a washer. Simple, reparable, made to last. Now let's look at how many washing machines are built today. And this is where the trick lives. In a lot of modern machines, the tub is no longer built in two halves. Instead, the inner drum and the outer tub are sealed together into one single unit. It is closed up tight at the factory. In many of them, the drum is even welded onto the shaft. There is no lid to open, no way in. So what happens now when that cheap little bearing wears out? You cannot get to it. It is trapped inside a sealed box. You cannot open the tub to reach the bearing because the tub does not open. It was built to stay shut forever. So the repair person cannot just swap a $2 bearing anymore. To fix that one tiny bearing, they have to replace the entire sealed unit. The whole drum, the whole tub, the shaft, all of it as one giant, expensive part. Do you see the trick? The part that broke is cheap, but they built it inside a part that is huge and costly. And they sealed it shut, so the cheap fix is impossible. You are forced to buy the big expensive part just to replace the tiny cheap one hidden inside it. Let's look at the real numbers, because they tell the whole story. Replacing just a worn bearing on an old machine you can open up might cost around $100, maybe up to $250. Not fun, but fair. A normal repair. But replacing a whole sealed tub assembly? That can run $600, $700, $800 or more once you add the giant part plus the hours of labor to fit it. Now think about what a new washing machine costs. For many people, that repair bill is now close to, or even more than, the price of a brand new machine. So the repair person, being honest, tells you the plain truth. At this price, you are better off just buying a new one. And there it is. The trap is complete. A $2 part has just cost you a whole washing machine. Not because it had to, but because the machine was built to make sure of it. There is even a simple rule the repair trade uses. If the cost of the fix gets close to half the price of a new machine, most people will just replace it. The makers know this rule too, and they design their machines to sit right up against it. And the sealed drum is not the only trick. Once you start looking, these machines are full of small, cheap parts, placed exactly where they can do the most damage to your wallet. There is the door lock. On a front-loading washer, the door must lock shut before it will run. That lock is a small, cheap piece of plastic and metal. But when it fails, the machine will not start at all. It just sits there, dead, over a part that costs very little. There is the drain pump. A small pump with a little plastic propeller inside. A coin or a hair clip can jam it. Cheap to make. But when it clogs, The machine floods with error codes and refuses to spin. And there is the control board, the little computer brain of the machine. When it fails, and it often does, the whole washer can go completely dark. That board can be one of the most expensive parts of all. Each of these is a tiny piece of a huge machine, but each one, on its own, can bring the whole thing to a stop. And each one is a chance to sell you a costly repair or to push you toward a whole new machine. Now, to be fair, the makers do have their reasons. They say a sealed tub is cheaper to build. They say it can be quieter and that it can help the machine spin faster. Some of that may even be true. But notice what the customer gets out of it. A machine that cannot be opened. A machine where a cheap, normal, expected repair has been turned into a reason to throw the whole thing away. They found a way to make the machine a little cheaper for them to build and far more expensive for you to keep alive. And they will call it efficiency, while your old, reparable washer, the one that would have lasted another 10 years, sits at the dump. So who wins here? The makers, of course. Instead of selling you one washer that lasts 25 years, they sell you 3 or 4 in that same amount of time. Every sealed drum, every dead control board, every not worth fixing, is another fresh sale. A shorter life means more machines out the door. And who loses? You do. You pay for machine after machine, when one good one should have lasted for decades. And the planet loses too. A washing machine is big and heavy and full of metal, plastic, and motors. And we throw them out by the millions, most of them killed by a small part that could have cost a couple of dollars to fix, if only they had let us reach it. And this is the pattern you see again and again once your eyes are open. It is never really about the big thing breaking. It is about a small, cheap part failing in a machine designed so that the small part cannot be fixed on its own. The bulb with the weakened thread, the printer with the counting chip, the fridge with the sealed cooling loop, and now the washer with the sealed drum. Different machines. The very same clever, quiet trick. Trap a cheap failure inside an expensive fix, and let the price do the dirty work of pushing you to buy again. To really feel what we have lost, let's think back to a time when washing machines were famous for one strange thing, lasting almost forever. There is an old set of television adverts that many people still remember. They showed a repairman for a washing machine company, sitting all alone, bored out of his mind. Why was he so bored? Because the machines were built so well that they almost never broke down. He had nothing to do all day. The whole joke of the advert was that the machines lasted so long. The repairman was the loneliest man in town. Now stop and really think about that. A company once bragged, proudly, on television, that their machines almost never needed fixing. They were proud that you would not see them again for 20 years. Can you imagine a company bragging about that today? Of course not. Because today, the plan is the exact opposite. Today, they need you back in a few short years. So what happened between then and now? The same thing that happened to the light bulb, and the printer, and the fridge. Someone did the cold math. A machine that lasts 20 years is 1 sale. A machine that lasts 7 years is 3 sales. And little by little, quietly, the machines got weaker. Not because anyone forgot how to build them well. We clearly knew how. They simply chose not to. Let's look at another sneaky trick. One that lives inside the front-loading machines so many of us own now. Inside, there is a part that holds the drum, often shaped like a 3-armed star. In some machines, this star is made from a cheaper metal that slowly eats itself away over the years, worn down by all that water and soap. It corrodes, it weakens, and when it finally cracks, the drum comes loose and the machine tears itself apart. Once again, it is a hidden part, deep inside the sealed unit, that you cannot reach or replace on its own. When it goes, the whole drum goes with it. Then there are the error codes. Modern washers are full of little computers and sensors, and when something small goes wrong, the machine does not just carry on. It flashes a code and locks itself up tight. Now, sometimes that code points to something tiny and cheap. A loose wire, a stuck sensor, a door not quite shut, but the machine will not tell you that in plain words. It just shows you a code and stops. So you are forced to call out a repair person just to learn what the code even means. And that visit alone can cost a good chunk of money before a single part is even touched. Do you see how every single layer is designed to push you the same way? The sealed drum, so you cannot reach the cheap bearing. The corroding star, hidden inside that drum. The error codes that force a paid visit for a problem you could have fixed in a minute. If only the machine had told you the truth. At every step, the design quietly nudges you toward the very same place, the store, to buy another one. And when it finally breaks for good, it almost always picks the worst possible moment. A basket full of soaking wet clothes, trapped behind a door that will not open. A busy family with no time and no spare machine. That pressure is part of the trap too. A calm person shops around and finds a good deal or a good repair. A stressed person, standing in a puddle with a pile of wet laundry, just wants it solved today. And they will pay whatever it takes. The makers understand that pressure perfectly. Let's zoom out and count the real cost over a whole lifetime. Say a good washing machine used to last 25 years. And say a modern one lasts around 7. That means, over the same stretch of time, you now buy 3 or 4 machines where your grandparents bought just one. Each one costs money to buy. Each one costs money to deliver and fit. And each old one costs the earth to throw away. Add it all up over a lifetime, and the difference is not small. It is thousands upon thousands of dollars, quietly pulled from families, one not worth fixing at a time. That is the true price of the sealed drum. Not one big shocking bill. A slow leak, spread across your whole life, that you barely notice, because it never comes all at once. So how do you fight back? You have more power here than you think. First, before you buy, ask a simple question that will surprise the salesperson. Is the tub sealed, or can it be opened up to change the bearings? Some machines, and some brands, still use tubs that can be opened and repaired. Those machines may cost a little more upfront, but they can be fixed, cheaply, for many years. That is worth a great deal. Second, do not blindly trust it is not worth fixing. Many washing machines that seem dead are killed by a small, cheap fault. A blocked pump, a stuck door lock, a coin caught in the filter. Before you scrap a whole machine, it is worth having someone check the small, common faults first. Sometimes the fix really is cheap if you catch it before you panic. Third, learn the simple things yourself. Cleaning the filter, checking for a blockage, clearing the pump. Many washers have a small filter door at the front that people never even open. A quick clean can bring a broken machine back to life. There are step-by-step guides online for almost every model made. Fourth, look after the machine so the bearings last longer. Do not overload it. Make sure it sits level on the floor so it does not shake itself to pieces. Balance out your washing. Small habits like these can add years to the life of the drum. Fifth, choose your brand with care. Some makers have quietly kept building washers the old, honest way, with tubs that open and parts you can replace. They are often not the cheapest machine on the shelf, but a washer that costs a bit more and then lasts 20 years is far cheaper in the end than 3 bargain machines that each die in 7. Ask around. Look up which brands the repair people themselves trust. They see which machines come back to the workshop again and again, and which ones they almost never see. That knowledge is worth its weight in gold. And be careful with the fanciest machines, the ones covered in screens, lights, and clever programs you will never use. Every one of those extras is another part that can fail and another reason for the machine to lock itself up with an error. In a washing machine, boring is beautiful. Boring is what lasts. And most of all, remember the trick. When you hear that a $2 part will cost you a whole machine, you now know exactly why. It was designed that way. And knowing that changes how you shop, how you repair, and how easily they can push you into buying again. So the next time your washing machine starts to grind, and someone tells you it is not worth fixing, take a breath. Look closer. Ask what really failed. Because very often, the thing that broke was tiny and cheap. It was only the design, the sealed drum, the clever trap, that turned it into a death sentence for the whole machine. Your washer did not have to die over a $2 part. It was simply built that way, so that it would. And here's the thing to hold on to. The water does not care about warranties. Metal does not wear out on a schedule set in a meeting room. Every early death you have ever cursed was a choice, made long before the machine ever reached your home. Someone decided how thick the metal would be, whether the tub would open, and how easy the whole thing would be to fix. And again, they chose the sealed drum, the shorter life, the bigger pile of sales. It did not have to be this way. And once you truly know that, you stop feeling unlucky, and you start shopping like someone who cannot be fooled. This is just one machine in your home. On this channel, we keep opening them up, one by one, and showing you the small tricks hidden inside the big machines. Because once you can see how they are built to fail, you can start choosing and fixing and keeping the ones that are not. So stick around. There is a whole lot more to uncover.